Hello, and you're welcome to Frontline TV exclusive. And in today's edition of the program, we're going to be looking at the issue that has been on the minds of so many students, not only in Taraba State but in Nigeria as a whole. The issue of the 2 weeks warning strike pronounced by ASUU. And also, my name is Musa Kalbi, your host on the program, saying you are welcome. Hope that you're going to enjoy this discussion. This time that we'll be discussing with the ASU chairman of the Taraba State University, talking about Comrade Bbave Joshua Garba. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you, viewers, and thank you for having me.
We are really happy that you actually found time to come to our studios to discuss and to intimate people out there why they strike. Because we all know that for some time now in the educational sector, ASU has been having quite a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Whenever something happens, they take their matters to the federal government, and the federal government keeps saying that everything is open to dialogue. And at the end of the day, people keep blaming ASU that there's too much of strike, it's affecting the calendar, it's affecting the graduation of students. But then we're going to go into that one later as we continue with the topic at hand.
Yeah.
So, Comrade Bbave Joshua Garba, you are the ASU chairman of the Taraba State University.
Yes.
So, we would like to say congratulations, and we know that the work has not been easy. It has not been easy.
Actually, it has not been easy. It has not been easy at all. But God is helping us.
It has not been easy.
Yeah.
Okay, now, ASU, they have been doing everything possible to see that they have conducive environment of learning, pay package, promotions, implementations, and what have you.
Yeah.
Before I start with the other question that I want to ask you, what can you say about ASU as a body and as a union at the same time?
Okay. Good day, viewers. ASU is a body of intellectuals, and it is a union that serves as a pressure group in the university to ensure that Nigerian public universities compete favorably with their peers across the globe. In the 60s and in the 70s, we used to have foreign expatriates as lecturers in Nigeria. But today, you find that it's very difficult to even have people from other states in other states of Nigeria teaching. It is becoming a less like localized or globalization, globalization, in the sense that you don't see people from other walks of life coming to cross carpet or to transmit ideas to cross-pollinate. So university is gotten from the word universal. So that universal component is gradually missing in the Nigerian public universities. And that is why, to a great extent, ASU as a union is fighting very hard to ensure that at least we should return to those good old days.
Okay, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of insight that has to do with what ASU is all about. Now, the persistent issue of strike, I want to ask why?
Before ASU embarks on any strike, it would have been that every form of discussion or every form of attention seeking by the union to get government to act has failed.
Okay.
The strike is always the last resort. Like the strike that we are ongoing. In 2017, the federal government inaugurated a committee to renegotiate the 2009 agreement that was headed by Babalakin. Babalakin came and resigned. 2017 to date is 8 years, 8 solid years. And all the groups, about 6 other committees had been set up. They all came up with draft recommendations, but the government has not ascended or has not signed it, and that has made it a kind of an endless discussion. It will start from Babalakin to Munzali Jibrin to Nimi Briggs to Yayale Ahmed to another one now that they are saying is expanded Yayale Ahmed, and you find that at every stage of discussion, there are always points of agreement, draft agreement, but the government will not accede to it. If you had been following in the news media, in the last 3 months, ASUU had heavily engaged the press in sounding warnings that they may go on strike, they may embark on strike if federal government does not conclude. But you can see that it got to a point that even the federal government was the one that demanded 3 weeks to conclude those discussions. And that 3 weeks lasted up to about 2 months or 3 months thereabout. Yet they were not able to meet up with those timelines. And we cannot continue discussing. So that's just at it. At any time you see us go on strike, it's because government is not forthcoming. It's not coming through with whatever they say they will do. They don't respect timelines.
Okay, now I just want to ask you one question because you have actually answered the first question, which was what are the key issues that led to the current warning strike?
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask for specifics. Is it because of the unpaid salaries, IPPIS, university autonomy, or infrastructure? What are the specifics?
They are all encompassing. Let me pick it from IPPIS. IPPIS, our members was forced into it, especially those in the federal universities were forced into IPPIS. IPPIS deducted third-party deductions from cooperatives, for union activities, for other things. But to our greatest dismay, IPPIS decided to go away with the money. They didn't remit the money to the respective bodies. It's just like cutting our salaries and then doing something different with it, which is very, very wrong. Because if I'm earning 100,000 naira and I say take 20 and give to Mr. A, to Union A, take 15 and give to Mr. And if you take the money from me, you don't remit, it means you have paid me, you've not paid me full salary. You have stolen from my hard-earned money. So that is what one of those things that IPPIS did to us. Then the 3.5 months, government said no pay, no work, no pay. But you know, the work of a university lecturer is different from other sectors. Take for instance, if it is a medical doctor that is on strike and you go to the hospital and you find him on strike, you will surely take your patient to another place where he can get treated. But for university, once we go on strike, every other thing remains halt until we resume, and then we start from where we have picked up. And then for us to cover up, we forfeit our leaves. Sometimes we run 3 semesters in 1 year. Sometimes we run even two sessions in 1 year, putting the burden on us. So as it is, we've been able to cover all that we've lost during the strike. So we don't see any reason why they should be holding forth or holding back our salaries. Are we going to talk about the salaries, the pay, the condition of our work? Professors earn about 450 to 480,000
every month.
Every month,
and it's constant.
It's constant. It doesn't add up. For a professor, a man that has spent nothing less than 20 years of research and teaching, and then you are paying him, and then when they retire with this contributory pension, some of them return home to 150, 110, 80,000 naira, depending on at which step of the professorial career that they retired. So these are all the issues that we are asking federal government to look into. So they are part of the whole issue as it is now.
Okay, but then what of the unpaid salaries?
The unpaid salaries were salaries that were accrued during the 2022 strike action. And even my local branch here, ASUU Taraba State University, we are still battling with that because the state government is owing us 2 full months of unpaid salaries, and we also have 4 months of what I call balkanized or amputated salaries, in the sense that some component of the salaries were paid in percentage, not the 100%. Some were 41, some were 51, some were, depending on how it was paid.
Okay, so which means Taraba State University, concerning this issue of ASUU strike, there's 2 months outstanding.
Full
2 months.
And then 4 months of fractional salaries.
My goodness. And what of the university autonomy?
Yeah, the university autonomy. You know, if universities are autonomous as they are in other climes, the federal government will only need to fund the universities, and the universities will generate laws and find a way that they can work and compete favorably. But you find that today, because the universities are working as if they are an appendage of the executive, most especially if a university is found in senatorial district A, the senator representing that zone will want to have a stake in that discussion, or who becomes the VC, or who becomes the commission, the BASA, who becomes the director of works, who becomes the librarian, and whatever. All these are part of what we are saying. There is a need for us to have a very fundamental, formidable universities that can compete favorably across the globe with other universities. When we cage our universities with all these kind of stringent or rigid or draconian laws, then it will not be open for patronage by people in the Western world.
Okay. Now, this warning strike is expected to last 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But then, what's the outcome that will determine whether it will escalate into a full strike?
Yeah, it's just like if a little baby is hungry and desires the mother's attention, and then the little baby will make a little cry, and the mother is supposed to give him either food or breastfeed him. But you know that if the mother does not breastfeed or feed him, then the cry will escalate. So the only thing that can make this to go into a full-blown strike is if government decides to come to negotiation table. That has always been our problem with government. They will always take time. They will not come. They will always spend whip sentiments, or always try to blackmail. Like the Federal Minister of Education was already saying that they have met all the demands of ASUU, when he himself could not even say one of the demands that they have met. Is it that they have paid the third-party deduction? Is it that they have given the university autonomy? Is it that they have revitalized Nigerian public universities so that we don't use bouncing burners in our laboratory, so that at least we have good library, we have good classrooms?
But on a personal note, what is it that people tend to see ASUU as the black sheep?
Yeah, why we always play the victim is because we don't only care about ourselves, we also care about our working environment. If we are only going on strike for our salaries to be increased, so that if you increase my salary today to 2 million naira and I go to class and there are 1 million students and there are no blackboards, there are no seats, if I'm able to manage to put one of my leg and I hold the other leg and I just deliver my lecture for 2 hours and I go, maybe we'll be a good people. That is why the primary school, the secondary school, they are all gone. Because the people there never had concern for the system. They were only much more concerned, if to some extent, if at all they were concerned about themselves. So they hadn't that kind of wanting the system to work for them. Today, the primary school, nobody, whatever you do, a lot of people, even as we have in my own state, Taraba state, that we have free education, you will still see that the number of private schools are increasing, and the enrollment in private school are still increasing, because a good number of people have already lost interest about the public school, believing that nothing good will come out of it, which is not supposed to be so. Just like the secondary school, you will see a principal going to secondary school A as a principal of a government school, but his child is going to a private school, meaning he doesn't even have confidence in the school where he is the principal. So, and that is why we are saying, we as university lecturers, we want a university that even our own children can patronize. We want the system to stand. So that is why people will always feel as if we're the black sheep. Students are always in a haste to graduate. So any delay, we are the black sheep. And then to make it worse, the Nigerian system of election that has made professors to be returning officers, a good number of people are finding it difficult to look at those persons by their name. As in, if I was the one that went in there as Professor Bbave, I should be seeing that Professor Bbave is corrupt. Not ASUU. ASUU as a union does not participate in the election. But because they are members of the academy, so it is easier to put them and say they are the ones that are also rigging the election. So all these things are the multifaceted issues that is giving us the name as if we are black.
Yeah, you're still watching Frontline TV exclusive discussion together with Comrade Bbave Joshua Garba, the chairman of ASUU branch, Taraba State University. Now, you have heard some insights that may be unknown to a lot of people. And I want to believe that this message is going down so that people will not be saying that ASUU is always the black sheep.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask another question. Has ASUU received any concrete response or commitments from the federal government since the announcement of the 2 weeks warning strike?
To the best of my knowledge and to the information available to us as a union, part of the NEC, we have not received any concrete commitment. The only one we have received is that the letter has been transmitted to the vice chancellors of most of the federal universities that they should open a register and take a roll call of those who come and those who do not come.
Okay.
And that they exempted some members of the union, the KONO and the NAMDA, that those people will be paid their salaries because they are not on strike. But the funniest thing is that those people could not still withhold the students back on campus. The students still left, even with those ones not being on strike.
But is that not going to cause a lot of segregation and ill feelings that some, this issue of no work, no pay, and others are going to be like exempted and they pay them. What role will ASUU now play in respect to that kind of, let me say, permit me to use the word betrayal?
So, association is a fundamental human right that everybody has that freedom to choose. And, there are some unions that they only become relevant in times of crisis. If everything is working well, you don't hear about them. So if some people have given themselves to be used by others, it may not be a problem to say. I'm not saying that corners is being used, but it is only left for them to understand that even in the 3.5 months that have not been paid, they are also part of the problem.
Okay.
So it's not as if the federal government loves any member of KONWA or NAMDA to an extent. No. They will always want to use it to see whether they can cause divide. But we don't see that as a level of betrayal. We are having good talks with them, and we are having an understanding that it is a fight to salvage the university system.
Mm-hmm.
There must be first a university that exists before you can have ASUU, KONWA, and NAMDA. Okay. So let us understand that it is the battle for the soul of the university, not the soul of the unions. So at the moment.
Okay, now coming back to the issue of students, we have heard so many students lamenting that maybe for a course of 4 years, they end up spending 6 years and maybe 7 years like that. Many students and parents are growing frustrated. What message does ASUU have for them during this period?
Yeah, we want to tell our students that truly, ASUU as a union, ASUU loves them. They should go around their campuses of the public universities. Let them see, they should count the number of buildings that do not have the inscription of TETFON on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will know. TETFON is a brainchild of ASUU, and it has been there to intervene or to serve as an intervention agency to the universities. TETFON has built classes, has built lecture theaters, has built hostels, have built libraries, have equipped libraries, have also built laboratories. So they should now assume if such a fight was not there by ASUU to put up TETFON to provide these things for universities, what then will their universities look like? So they should understand, they should bear with us. We are partners with them in progress. But it's just that if we want to make something to work right, some people must pay the sacrifice. As we are paying the sacrifice, going on with their salaries, they should also understand with us that it is actually for the betterment of the university system and their own betterment too.
I think that should also go a long way for the students, to be motivated. That it's not that all these things, it's not that it is intentional.
No,
it's not intentional.
It's not.
It's for the betterment of the environment and even they themselves as students.
Of course.
Okay, now, clearly we all understand that ASUU, whenever there's dialogue between ASUU and the federal government, it always ends in deadlock. And even in the past. And what makes this time any different from the previous ones?
Okay. No, our discussions don't normally end in deadlock. But the challenge we have with people we negotiate with, they are yet to come to terms with the nature and operations of our union. This offer. There and then they cannot accept or reject. They will always say, let us get back to our members. But people will feel as if it is a deadlock because there was no acceptance or rejection right on the floor. But what the union will do is they will convene a NEC meeting, call all NEC members, and then tell them these stories and say, okay, go back to your branches and hold Congress and take a referendum whether we should accept this position or not, because the power belongs to the people. So we'll go back to our congresses. If they say we should accept, then we'll go back to NEC and say, yes, they say we should accept. Then NEC will now reply, whoever we're negotiating with, that we have accepted that position. So, but because you don't see it immediately, so it is always look as if it is a deadlock. No. But in the operation of our union, the powers to decide lies with the people, lies with our members. So that is where every decision we take must emanate from the Congress, so that we know that the Congress have given us the mandate and the backing. So we just believe that even this one, whatever offer they bring, it will still have to come down to the level of branches to hold the Congress and then decide what next to do.
And now, comrade, where do you stand on this issue of we have what it takes when it comes to the education sector in Nigeria, even in Taraba, we have what it takes. Where do you stand now, as a personal question, with some of our leaders, the politicians, sending their children outside the country? Because there's a saying that whatever you're looking for in Sokoto is right here in your Sokoto. Where do you stand on that? Is it because they feel their own children are not schooling in Nigeria, so they don't want to say anything or make a commitment from the federal government level, or what? What is it actually?
That is you've just said it. For people that were in University of Maiduguri in the 80s and 90s, they will tell you that they were in school with the children of the then president, General Sani Abacha. His children went to University of Maiduguri as a sitting president. But today, a local government councillor is thinking of how to send his child abroad. Civil servants are sending their children abroad. So you find that what you don't inspect, you cannot expect. So it's more or less like, do whatever you want to do now. Do I even have a stake there? So they have already alienated themselves from the educational system in Nigeria. You see people every week, if schools are having, let me call them graduation abroad, you see a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians going there to celebrate or going there to bring their children, ministers, senators. Even there was a time the school was on strike. The Minister of Education went abroad for the graduation of his child. So these are the things you will see in this country. So that system will actually get decay. That's why I said if every principal and every teacher of a secondary school is asked that his child should school in that school, you will see that the teachers will not sit under the trees, but they will all go to the class to teach because they know the future of their children is also at stake. So that's just the system.
Now, can you shed more light on the funding challenges facing the Taraba State University specifically, and how it can affect both teaching and research?
And back to Taraba State University, we have our own array of challenges. The biggest of them is funding. The law that established Taraba State University prescribed that 5% from the statutory allocation of the state is supposed to be given to the state as funding. 5% from every local government is supposed to be given. Hoteliers are supposed to give 1% charge per on guest. Financial institutions are supposed to give 2% of their profit as it. And then for every contract that is being awarded, 2.5% is supposed to be given to Taraba State University as part of the funding. But I can sure bet you that not all this are being honored. If we can put the whole of this month, assuming the school was having in the past to maintain itself was the fees that it was collecting, which today we have halved. So, and then the subvention from government, I can boldly say it is not coming.
So that means most of our leaders don't actually have interest in the development of education in our Nigerian universities.
Not that they don't have interest, is that they are ill-advised.
Okay.
It's a question of, because it depends on people that have advised them and the reasons they have advanced for such advice that is actually working out. But if you advise our leaders thoroughly and properly, if they wish and they want to do the right thing, they can do the right thing. But that's where the challenge is. But even beside that, I can bet you tell that I've been in Taraba State University from 2010 to date. I was working in a company that had a pension scheme. Till today, I still receive pension alert. But I'm telling you, for the last 15 years to date, Taraba State University is not on any pension.
And you are entitled to it.
We're entitled to
many
it.
Of the people there,
many have died, some have even retired, and you just as if you have come to do a volunteer work and you return home. That's the situation.
So this is just a matter of ill-informed.
Yeah. The will is not there. The will is not there. If not, why would somebody work and not earn a living at the end of it? These are my productive years. If I was taking this to ride Keke Napep, if I was taking this to do anything, maybe I could have saved for the future. But I'm using this energy that I have as my productive age to put into government work, and then at the end of it.
Okay, now what alternatives to strike has ASUU considered in the fight for better university funding and also staff welfare?
As it is, we are yet to come up with any alternative as a union. But we have always told people that have told us, can't we go for any alternative? We will always tell them that they can help us provide the alternative. We are students of learning. We will always learn. So we will want them to bring up the alternatives that they have. Because for 8 years, you have been discussing with people, and they have set up almost 7 committees that have produced report and they have refused to sign. So I wouldn't know what else do we need to do. We have gone to press, we have done press all across the country. We have done protests in all the campuses of the Nigerian universities. We have done everything that you could think we could do. We have made the people that matters in the society. So what else do we do?
Now, third-party mediation, for example, the National Assembly, traditional rulers, NGOs, what role have they played in trying to see that they resolve these ongoing issues?
Yeah, third-party mediations are welcome. It is always good because Nigeria must first of all exist before any other thing. We welcome such things. But what we always fail to understand is that why will those people wait until when
it has gotten to
the
that
strike
level
is declared before they can come in? Where were they when we were making press conferences, doing protests across Nigerian universities? Why were they not proactive? Why wait until now that we have sent the students back home? Some of the students that have gone back home, God forbid, some of them may not even get home. Because our roads are bad, accidents or kidnapping or all these other things. Is it worth it? Why can't they be proactive to ensure that the discussion do not break down? But we actually welcome that. But my worry is that they are always coming after the strike has been declared. Meanwhile, they can be proactive to ensure that the strike is not declared.
Well, before we round up this discussion, I want to still ask you another question. Is ASUU open to third? Okay, we have already answered that one. The open third-party mediation. Yeah. They ought not to wait for a strike. Yeah. They can intervene before a strike is pronounced. Now, in your view, what is the long-term solution to preventing the cycle of strikes in Nigeria's university system?
The long-term solution is proper funding of the Nigerian universities. There should be increased budgetary allocation, followed by consistent releases, because it is one thing to increase budgetary allocation, it's another to release the money to them. And then if there is increase in budgetary allocation, and then there is consistent releases, and then proper inspection and supervision. Because if you don't inspect, you don't expect. So there should be proper supervision. The supervision we are saying here is not as if the supervision that you will announce. There should be unannounced supervision. There should be announced supervision. In fact, everybody who has a role to play must be put on his toes.
But I just want to quickly ask this question. Yeah. Is it that we have too many universities in Nigeria that the federal government doesn't want to have time to go and inspect, or what?
You know, it is just like a story of a man not minding his religion or his belief, who has 7 wives, and each of the wives have, let me say, 15 children. Be rest assured that some children will be forgotten.
Yeah.
That the meal may not cut across. So it's just to answer this question is that in Nigeria, it is not about the problem of quantity, but it is a thing of quality. Almost every state of the federation has a university, federal university, and then maybe a state university. Some states have up to 3. But instead of balkanizing the funds you have to run across 3 universities, you can merge all these things as one solid standard university. It will be much more better than going for the numbers. We don't have challenge of access. In terms of access, there is access to education is very high. It's just for us to now see how we can maintain the quality. So the moratorium placed by federal government for the 7 years, left to me, they should have even made it 20 years. There should be no federal university, no new state universities. Let us see how we can build and grow these ones to a level so that at least they can compete favorably with the. It is not about the quantity, but let's go for the quality.
All right, viewer, there you have it. We have been discussing the issue of the 2 weeks warning strike as pronounced by ASUU. And ASUU, for some time now, have been doing everything possible to get the attention of the federal government as to why they don't want the strike to take place. And so many people have been wagging their tongues, saying that ASUU this, ASUU that, not wanting to even ask ASUU, please, why is this thing persisting?
Yes.
Now that you have heard it from the TSU branch chairman, talking about Comrade Bbave, Joshua Garba, I want to believe that certain hearts will be at rest, in as much as they're even trying everything possible to see to it that the quality of education, continues to be standard, and also their own welfare too has to be considered. And we just hope that in no distant time, this issue of the 2 weeks warning strike will not escalate to full-blown strike.
We hope
Because so many students are actually tired of this issue of full-blown strike. Everybody wants to do
Yes.
and finish.
Honestly.
But there are other things involved. And until we make them to understand that there are other things involved, ASUU, as a union on its own, still the blame finger will still be pointed at ASUU.
Yeah, we are the victim and the ones who have been blamed too.
But we hope that via this medium, people understand why ASUU had no option rather than to go on this 2 weeks warning strike. But we hope and believe and pray that it will not escalate to full-blown strike. So, Comrade Bbave Joshua Garba, the chairman, TSU branch of ASUU, we hope that in the nearest future, when we come knocking at your door, you'll be able to, welcome us again and shed more light as to the progress and the achievements, the journey so far that has to do with ASUU. Yeah. But again, a word of encouragement to our students.
Yeah, of the greatest Nigerian students, what I would just say is this is not deliberate, it's not intentional. But we are also deliberate and